Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Board of County Commissioners meeting, November 15th, 2022. We'll call our meeting to order. We'll have our invocation this morning with Jim Harper from the Stewart Alliance Church, and following that, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd all please rise. Good morning.
Bow our heads and hearts as we go before the throne of our God this morning. Father, it is in the name of our Lord Jesus we come before you this morning. We thank you, God, for your goodness to us. Lord, as we look back on this past week or so, Lord, we thank you for your grace and your mercy as, Lord, we're here today and you were the hurricane that came through, Lord. We just thank you for the minimal amount of problems that we had, and we just give you praise this morning. I thank you for this group of people that you have raised up in leadership over Martin County. Lord, I ask your blessing upon everyone. I pray that the joy of the Lord would be their strength. I thank you, God, that you have placed men and women in authority that are to serve you by serving us. And so, Lord, I give you praise for them. I ask you to bless them, their families, and all the things that are going on in their personal lives. Lord, may you just bestow upon them grace and mercy and peace. Again, thank you, God, for this beautiful day that you've given us, and we commit it to you, and we just ask your blessings. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So this morning we have additional item, consent item number 18, approval of First Amendment of the lease with the APP Stewart FBO LLC to extend the deadline for completing the completing of the lease's proposed improvements plan to July 31st, 2023. We also have a poll of consent item number 1, contracts that meet the threshold for board approval. And with that, we need a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Chair, I will approve the agenda with additional item consent 18 and consent poll number 1.
Second. We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
if you want to recognize that we're only going to be 4 today.
I was going to have
Just for the vote.
Mr. Donaldson share that with us, but if you want to do that now, that'd be fine.
Yes, Commissioners. Commissioner Hurd is absent today. She's recovering from an injury and expects to be here next meeting. And we all wish her well and a speedy recovery.
Okay. Thank you for that. Sure can't be anything else with that. Okay. This morning, we'll have public comment and followed by commissioner's comment and county administrator's comment, blah, blah, blah. We have a couple proclamations this morning. The first up is Farm City Week.
You want to go?
Yes, please.
Okay. First up, we have a proclamation declaring Farm City Week in Martin County, Florida. Brittany Bearden, you want to come up? I'll read a quick statement first. Florida farmers and ranchers help feed the world and rely on essential partnerships to supply, sell, and deliver products to consumers across Florida and around the globe. November 16 through the 23rd is recognized as Farm City Week, and the board urges residents to recognize the achievements of all of those who, working together, provide the amazing abundance of agricultural products that we all enjoy. Brittany?
First of all, Commissioners, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today and for the recognition of our farmers and ranchers in Martin County and the hard work that they do to produce food for our families. A couple statistics I just wanted to share. In Martin County, we have a rich agricultural background with farming and ranching being important economic drivers since the 1930s in our community. Even today, almost 50% of our agricultural production comes from, almost 50% of the county's land area remains in agricultural production, according to the most recent property appraiser report. And we have more than 150,000 of agricultural acres in Martin County. 24.2% of our employment in Martin County comes from agriculture, and nearly $1.2 billion worth of value-added contribution represents over 18% of our county's total value-added contribution. So, again, thank you for the opportunity to speak, and thank you for the recognition today. Maybe. They did have both of them. Do you want me to ask? Sorry, you take it. I may have messed up. Farm City had two. Your choice. I'm new at this. Okay, we'll do National Apprenticeship Week, Martin County. Ted, you want to come up? Sorry about that. The purpose of National Apprenticeship Week is to raise awareness of the vital role registered apprenticeships serve in creating opportunities by allowing participants to earn while they learn and preparing a pathway to quality jobs and well-paying careers in Martin County and across the nation. National Apprenticeship Week is November 14th through the 20th, and the board recognizes the importance of this proven, industry-driven training model. Now it's your turn.
Thank you. Thank you for letting us go second. So thank you for the recognition of a National Apprenticeship Week. Apprenticeships are a great opportunity for employees to have a predictable path, continuous learning and education and training, and predictable wage increases as they progress up the career path. And I've got a few people with me I'd like to bring up. I have Alex Anzalone, our campus president for Indian River State College, Brian Bauer from CareerSource Research Coast, Tom Whittington from the Marine Industries Association, and Tamara Woody from DAHARE, which is going to be one of our soon-to-come apprenticeship programs. And I think I've got a couple of people that just want to say a couple things. Tom, you want to talk about what you're doing at Marine Industries?
Thank you, Ted. Commissioners, staff, thank you very much for having us today and for this recognition. As president of the marine industry, I'm very excited to report that we've got a number of association members that want to be part of the training, and we're working really hard trying to staff up for our industry. Last night, we got approval from the city of Stuart to move forward with the boat show, which is where we get the money to help fund some of these things, and we appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity. On behalf of CareerSource Research Coast, I just want to say apprenticeship, as Ted had mentioned, is the opportunity to earn while you learn, and we have been focused along with the entire state CareerSource Florida network with regards to apprenticeship opportunities. As you may or may not know, we are currently a sponsor for several apprenticeships. We have 7 registered apprenticeships within the state of Florida right now. Very excited about the opportunities that we are working with, as well as a recent opportunity that we're going to get to partner with our folks to the north of us at CareerSource Brevard, as well as CareerSource Flagler Volusia for the next couple of years. So, and that focuses in aviation advanced manufacturing. So very excited about these opportunities, and thank you for your time. Thank you.
Photograph.
How about you come here and I'll come around? Just in case. I'll be her backup.
This chair is just.
Gotta tighten the. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do it.
I would fix it for you,
but it
might look kind of weird.
I'll do it on the break. You see me flip right out of it.
Okay. And our last one, we're presenting a proclamation recognizing the 22nd Annual Bible Reading Marathon in Martin County, Florida. Joanne Rodriguez, Pastor Eddie Rodriguez.
They are at the Bible Marathon, so
Ah.
we got to be on some break.
Come on up. President Ulysses S. Grant stated, "Hold fast to the Bible as the sheet anchor of your liberties." And President Abraham Lincoln called it the best gift God has given to man, with historians crediting President George Washington with identifying the United States as one nation under God. November 11th through the 15th is recognized as the 22nd Annual Bible Reading Marathon, a 90-hour continuous read-through of the entire Bible. Thank you.
Thank you. Julie Bjornson, Stuart, Florida. Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for the 22nd proclamation for Bible Reading Week in Martin County. Our Bible Reading Marathon starts each year on Veterans Day, and due to Florida's unpredictable weather, Stuart's annual Veterans Day Parade and Memorial Park ceremony was canceled. We missed the opportunity to publicly acknowledge our veterans and thank them for the freedom we enjoy at their expense. America without her brave soldiers would be like God without angels. I would like to personally thank all the veterans who served and were able to come home. I would also like to thank all the Gold Star families for their sacrifice who had serving members who did not come home. My mother was a Gold Star wife. On November 11th, there was a special dedication ceremony held in Washington, D.C. for the new National Native American Veterans Memorial, located just outside the National Museum for the American Indian. This memorial represents the Native Americans who served in all branches of the armed services. It is the long-deserved tribute to our Native American veterans. Though enduring a problematic history, Native Americans promised to uphold a government that has historically decimated their communities. They have served valiantly in every major conflict, every capacity, every generation since formalized military was raised in 1775. As a founding museum member, I only missed this dedication ceremony due to my commitment to the Bible Reading Marathon. Freedom is what our veterans fight for. Freedom is what we are fighting for today. The pandemic was a horrible reminder that our freedoms could be lost. Everything we believe and hold true about our country, our moral, religious, and constitutional heritage was challenged, including our freedom to worship Jesus Christ. Our constitutional protection of our God-given freedoms is now under attack, also by the attack of the uncopyrighted public domain English Bible. It is the long-standing authority from God that stabilized our nation. The influx of man-made modern versions has caused many deceptive changes in foundational truths. It is the real freedom we need to fight for, to know and protect God's truth. Many presidents understood that without morals and ethics taught in our Bible, our nation's self-government would fail. Today, Bible truths are being replaced by technology, the internet, social media, and now unfettered, misleading propaganda influencing public opinion. The Bible prophecy tells us of the one world government, the one world religion, and the rise of the Antichrist, replacing Jesus Christ in a time of tribulation. During these unsettling times of darkness, may our nation continue to hold the truths of the Bible, that we are one nation under God. The destiny of our nation was established by God to be a light for the gospel to all the nations of the world. The gospel is God's promise. The question is, will our country continue to exist without the truths found in the Bible, without the Christian faith, without the authority of the Bible, without God? I don't think so. What if there is no true God, true word of God left to read? George Orwell said, "The further a society drifts from truth, the more it will hate those who speak it." Hebrew 3:17 cautions, "Take heed, brethren, lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief in departing from the living God." Thank you. Where do I do? Do you have a timer?
No.
Okay, thank you for all that. Next up will be public comment. The first public speaker we have this morning is Gloriana Del Rey. Good morning, and for all that will be Carolyn Hall, Yost Rudge, please.
Okay. We're going to put it up here. Like this. Oh, it's a little crooked. Okay. It's on? Good.
Hi, my name is Gloria Andelizia, and I live in Fisherman's Cove.
Closer to the mic.
And I live in Fisherman's Cove, and there's property behind me that nobody owns, and then the county owns. And, you know, I own nobody, and then the county. And I've always had these trees back there, but during Ian, they all fell down on my yard. They're broken. They're all over my yard. And there's nobody that owns the property. I've already been, looked it all up since it was Fisherman's Cove Association since 1986. No one's paid on it. No one owns the property. And I'm looking for some help, just somebody to help clean it up for me because I'm by myself and I can't do it. And I don't know what to do because I no longer have a backyard. I've got trees broken all in my yard. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll have somebody look at that. And we'll
Thank you.
Okay. Carolyn?
Yeah, they'll have somebody, you left your information on the comment card?
Yeah, we have it in the comment cards. And Carolyn? Good morning. I'm sorry, Karen.
Okay. A lot worse, trust me.
Good morning. Thank you for your service. Before I start what I was going to say, I was at the meeting last night, and I looked at my public comments, and somehow the video got manipulated by accident. So just for anybody that looks at my comment, what I said was the city of Stewart started the litigation against our property, but the first thing they did was got a permit without William, the owner's signature. So that was the beginning of the dirty deeds, and somehow that got erased. So anyway, what I want to talk about with you is that there is an open pending case. Here is the filing. Your attorney already got it. Roll Tide. I want Commissioner Stacy Hetherington to have a copy of the pleading. It's open. Your attorney will not return an email. She totally refuses to participate, which is a violation of her oath of attorney. Okay? So I am asking you to do the right thing and have her respond so we can set a hearing. And I will tell you, I did share this last night, and this is just from Martin County Property Appraiser regarding our property, 1701 Southwest Pond City Road. It's interesting. It has the Ken Sunheim dead, which was our attorney. Why would a property appraiser do that? We have the police involved. We have Gloria Fike involved. We have the property appraiser trying to drop our homestead. We're just looking for info that would justify removal of homestead. Then we had Troy McDonald over on the commission saying, oh yes, we know that it's their homestead, but can we break that homestead, I guess? This is not how public officials talk, okay? And so this is something that needs to be settled, and when your attorney does not respond to me, then that's a problem, all right? I hired you, you hired her. I want accountability, and I want to say how grateful I am to live in this county. Love this county, love my city, love you guys, just like we pray for you all the time. We love you. We don't agree with you all the time, but we do love you. We respect you, okay? So let's get on this. This is unacceptable. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rudge. Anybody else from the public wish to comment at this time? Don't have any more speaker forums. Thank you all very much. First item we'll take up is, I'm sorry, I'm skipping right over that. Commissioner Jenkins, do you have anything this morning?
I don't, thank you.
Commissioner Hetherington?
I'm all set.
Commissioner Campy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We haven't had a meeting in a while because of some scheduling issues, so this is the first meeting that we've had since our Martin County family has had a terrible loss. For many of us up here, we lost a dear friend, and for the members and residents of Martin County, you lost an unbelievable public servant and employee when Larry Massing, the head of our building department, passed away. A young man with a young family. He had a remarkable career here in Martin County. He was originally with the city of Stuart as their fire chief. Many people were not aware of that in his history, but many of us here know him as the head of the building department. And Larry was what I would call an old school kind of a guy. You know, as commissioners, we all get phone calls from citizens that have issues with permitting and issues with construction and inspections, and anywhere in the United States, the building department, excuse me, the building department is always sort of the first contact that many residents have with their local government. Sometimes it's the only contact that they would have. And they don't normally call up to say everything went great, but they do call when there's issues. Sometimes it's paperwork or logistics or timing or scheduling. And I can tell you, and I'm sure my colleagues would agree, that every single time a resident had reached out to me and I was able to then contact Larry, sometimes even when he was on vacation. Now, had I known he was on vacation, I wouldn't have called him. But he still answers his phone, all of us. He still answers his phone while he's on his vacation and then handles the issues. There is not one single time, and I really spent a lot of time thinking about it, where Larry was not able to handle and correct and resolve a situation for residents, making all of us as elected officials look like superstars when in actuality it was Larry and his staff that took care of the issues. I know that the city of Stuart is grieving their dear friend and colleague, and I know that we are. It happened the day after our last meeting, so it's been a little while, but it for me personally, it's like I lost a member of my family. I loved him. He was the nicest person you could ever meet, and I want to just wish God's blessing on his family and all of us who called him a friend. I know that his family just recently set up a GoFundMe page to create the Larry Massing Foundation, which will continue to do good works on his behalf in this community. So I urge anyone that knew Larry, that appreciated his friendship and his professional abilities, to go to that GoFundMe page by typing in his name and honoring him in that way. I would also like to make a motion to my colleagues. I have already discussed this with Don Donaldson, our administrator. I'd make a motion that we name the building department on Willoughby the Larry Massing Building Department in his honor forever. I think that that is just, as well as the fact that when the address of the building department is printed or listed, that it would be listed in such a way that it is the Larry Massing Building, then the address, so that no one will ever forget in years to come Larry Massing, and God bless his family at this time. Thank you.
Second that motion.
Nice. You all good? Okay with all that? Okay. We have a motion, we have a second for the naming of that facility, which I think is a really super nice idea. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Is that it? So,
Yes.
Yeah, this morning? I don't know that I could follow up. Ed always does a remarkable job in these instances, and he covers 99 and 9/10% of all the bases that you'd want to cover with something like this. I think what I would add, and there'll be more to add, I think, in time with Larry, because there's so much to add with him. I would echo the funny part of calling him, and inevitably it would be like he'd be away on something, and he'd pick up the phone, and he wouldn't tell you that he was away, and you'd find out later that he was away. And what was really remarkable about Larry, and all of our staff really truly does, in almost all cases, do the same thing. But Larry would handle it like that moment. It wasn't a day later, it wasn't 6 days later, it wasn't a month later, it was that moment. And, you know, our residents shouldn't have to know how these things get done, because they just expect when there's a problem that it gets handled and it gets done. And Larry was remarkable in that instance. What I loved about him is he would always follow up with a visit to the office, and then you'd get the real story. And it was always kind of this kind of a Larry way of telling you the you know what the issue was. And it was kind of curt, but it was also kind of funny. And he had this little like laugh that he would do about it, and he would leave, and it was done. It was over. And I really appreciated that. And as Ed said, it just made our lives a whole heck of a lot better and easier. I'll also share you one thing that Larry shared with me, and it's important, I think, to tie it to Larry because he told it to me, but it's also important to understand how and what the building department really does act at when you're building something and you get a permit. And we get complaints a lot about, not a lot, every once in a while, about, you know, why is my inspection taking so long? Why did this happen? Why did that happen? And I would kind of challenge Larry to, like, Larry, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And at the end of the day, Larry said, look, this is really what our inspection process is all about. He said, we're making sure that the homeowner or business is getting what they paid for. They're getting good work, they're getting quality work, and that what they thought and understood they were supposed to get is what they're getting. It's not us giving the resident or the business a hard time. It's much more about ensuring the fact that what they thought they were supposed to get and what they are getting, we are ensuring and we are following up and making sure that that work got done properly. And that put it like in a whole different frame of thought process for me that I'd never really thought about it before. But Larry was right. You know, at the end of the day, he was putting our residents first and making sure that everything was taken care of. And so, great guy. He is going to be a huge void in our world over here. We already dearly miss him. And Ed, I appreciate always you saying the things that you say, because
I wish we didn't have to.
you organize them in such a way that it's well done. So thank you for that. On another note, I said this during one of our press conferences during the hurricane. Thank you to our community for doing what we asked and what our sheriff asked of you and what fire rescue asked of you and our staff asked of you. Getting off the road, staying out of the middle of the hurricane, allowing our public service folks to do what they need to do and to be able to be out there when there is a problem, and not to create additional issues for us. It really was remarkable how everybody really did take the advice, the requests of our community to make sure that we dealt with the hurricane properly. We were incredibly lucky and fortunate in terms of the type of damage we had versus some other communities that really got walloped on this one. And we fared very well. I mean, in all things considered, there are some messes out there, but we're dealing with them. I equally want to thank our staff for both what you don't see behind the scenes, and when you see us on TV at a press conference, you see 5 or 6 of us standing there, but behind our wall on the left, there's a whole bunch of people, every conceivable department, every conceivable agency, working to make sure that calls are answered, that the issues are dealt with, and that we are prepped and you are prepped and we're ready for a storm. And then there's the aftermath and what we deal with post-storm. And so again, to our staff, thank you for the amazing professionalism and the talent that you have. Thank you to all the agencies that show up and work with us. We had the Corps there with us, which is always important. Just phenomenal response to it all. And so again, thank you to that and to all our state and federal partners that pull all the stuff together that we end up having to do months and months after a storm has occurred. So with that, anything else from the board? Mr. Donaldson, you have anything this morning?
No, just in terms of, Larry's a great loss to us, and there will be a celebration of life this weekend, Saturday, that his family's put forward, November 20th. He is greatly missed, but he's well-loved, and we'll just be thinking about him. And so my remarks on other items relating to the storm will be at the end of the meeting.
Great.
Thank you.
And if I stole a lot of your stuff, I apologize, but
It's all right.
sure you'll have much more to add.
I do have more to add, so if those are interested, it'll be at the end.
Hang on and
Yes.
hang around, right? Okay, with that, we'll get to our consent item poll. It was consent item number 1, contracts that meet the threshold for board approval. Commissioner Heatherington, I believe you pulled this because you need to file something, right?
I've actually pulled this because I need to abstain from item number 1, which is Beau Rivage Neighborhood Restoration as a contractor at Ferrera. I will abstain. I don't believe they were the awarded bidder, but in abundance of caution, I have filed my Form 8B, and I will abstain from that item. So, and then item 2, I have questions on, so.
Motion to accept staff's recommendation for item 1, Beau Rivage Neighborhood Restoration.
Second. We have a motion, we have a second. Anybody from the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing none, back to the board. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All is opposed? Okay, motion carries 3 to 1 abstention to 1 absence. Is that right? Okay.
Accurate.
And then item 2.
Christy Brotherton, Chief Procurement Officer for Purchasing Division. Item number 2 is our Public Relations, Communications, and Outreach Contract. Commissioner, do you want to address your questions, or would you like me to read the recommendation?
So would you first go over the process? I mean, I read a little bit of the scope of what we were looking for and how we could award one or more bidders, but could you just outline the process that was used for this particular item?
So this particular contract is an RFP, which we did have a selection committee member panel of 5 members of county employees. We go through the process where we collect proposals with the advertisement, and then the selection committee members review all of the proposals. They meet in a public meeting. Individual scores are presented by each of the members for each of the criteria that's outlined in the solicitation. And then we take the average score for each one of those of all of the committee members, and that's how we end up with the scores that are part of this.
So how many bidders did we have? 6?
This one we had 6. And then we awarded, the selection committee recommended a contract award to 2 firms, which is what we had previously.
So only 6 people bid on the RFP?
Correct.
So not unlike our continuing services where we have several different contractors, and how many contractors do we have awarded on that particular?
Well, this is a continuing services contract.
So the one when we do our sidewalks and,
It's really dependent by the county's need. Some of our larger contracts, with our civil engineering, I think we have 11 or 12 engineering firms under contract. It really just depends how much work is anticipated over that potential 5-year period, because this is a 3-year term contract with 2 one-year renewal options. I believe the contract amount is $500,000. So usually what happens is the department that is responsible for managing the contract will do kind of like a 5-year outlook, which we don't always know what, our future looks like, but comes up with a good estimate of how much work will be done within that potential 5-year period. And that a lot of times will also drive the number of vendors that are awarded a contract. So if it's a heavily used contract like our civil engineering, we want to make sure that we have enough vendors under contract that we can get all the work done that needs to be done instead of overloading one firm.
yeah, on this particular one, I think, and this is my background in public relations, I think we need more vendors because everybody's skill set is very different, which is why I pulled it, and all of the companies are very reputable and great companies. I know M Network has done some things, they've done a great job in what they put together. But when it comes to on the ground, I'll tell you, I wish I had a very local, on the ground community outreach. When we were doing the Golden Gate Dixie Highway, that project would have went way smoother if we had a local firm to do community outreach. I think in this case, all these companies have different skill sets, and I don't see the harm in opening it up to having more tools in the toolkit. So if Public Works, is focusing on, say, Old Palm City septic to sewer or mooring field, and the skill set is more community outreach, they might want to choose a firm that has strengths in that. Whereas if they have, the need for digital media or high technology or, glossy marketing materials, there's some others on that list that are strong in those suits. So I think the more that we can utilize the different skill sets, the better we will be. And the departments, I think, know what they need in those instances. I'm done for now, but I have okay.
Commissioner Campy?
Thank you. I'm actually very pleased with our internal staff. Our communication staff has been, especially over the last couple of years, been challenged greatly, as most have. We have an excellent internal team. When we field, but they obviously can't be doing everything for every department and specializing in every single thing. I look at them as more of the Board of County Commissioners team and our administrative team, and more of a universal voice for the county. But when we get into the individual projects, I agree with what Commissioner Hetherington said, and I reviewed this as much as we're allowed to review it, the details, and I was thinking similar. I've heard of Quest. I know that a lot of other big projects and FDOT and other people have used Quest. I'm not very familiar with the M Network, but obviously if the selection committee chose them, then there's obviously value in there. I remember the last time that this had come up, I was vocal in terms of these are both great companies, but neither one of them are local companies. And I know that departments have utilized services of local companies in the past through the individual departments, maybe subcontracting it out through a different vendor. That being said, I don't see a problem in having it be 3 or 4, if that be the case. To me, I know that even when we went back to the days of local vendor preference, and I know that's a slippery slope, because if you do that, then we could potentially lose business in Palm Beach County or in St. Lucie County. So I'm not necessarily saying that, but there is also something to be said for having local vendors, even if they don't necessarily get points added to their score for that. I personally think that that's a good idea. Now, some will say, well, I'm friendly with some of the people that were submitting. I had no concept of that this was even out there as an RFP. I got enough of my own things to worry about than micromanaging our staff selection. But that being said, I don't see any harm in having an additional person or 2. And by the fact that I am friendly with one of these firms, I'm actually friendly with all of our local firms. I believe all of us are friendly with all of our local firms. That's what they do. They do government relations. They do community outreach. If we didn't know them, they're obviously not doing a good job. So I would agree with Commissioner Hetherington that there's no reason why we wouldn't allow others to be on this list if their services are needed and our staff and through departments realize that they should be utilized. Then this would just make it an easier process versus being left out of the process. So I don't know if Commissioner Hetherington wants to make a motion to that regard, that we open this up to be beyond the 2.
Before we do that,
Yes, sir.
does anybody want to weigh in on what our parameters are here? Like, nobody's looking up. I'll go to George first.
Well, I guess just from
I just,
looking for a
all
staff
I want to do, George, is
We
because
can
I feel
include
like
you.
there could be a motion coming,
There's a
and
motion.
I just want to make sure of what latitude do you want to have, if there's latitude to have. If there's not, what governs what we're doing? I mean, I guess the question I would have, you've got 5, right?
You go back down to the list.
The list? You have 5 there?
I think it's 6.
6. I guess it's just it's a question. Can you have 6, or can you only have 2?
So,
Or can you have 3?
Mr. Chair, I think staff does its best to try and draw a line and where that line is drawn, but I think in this instance, if the board is wanting to expand the list, I'm going to speak from the hip and say probably staff's recommendation is you expand it all to all 6. And then what becomes an issue is sometimes do we have enough money that it's evenly spread? But I think if you were to just go to only 3, then we will get a question from the 4th proposer as to why we didn't get that. So, the issue I think that I've heard from staff is the reason they picked the top 2 is the applications from the bottom 4 were incomplete. So, to draw a line becomes a bit of an issue.
Well, each one of these obviously have scoring, and each firm had strengths and weaknesses, as all of our solicitations do. Some firms provided information that was requested, some lacked. Some of the fee schedules were much higher than others. So, the issue that we run into, which we've tried very hard over the past few years, is over-awarding a contract when there's not enough work, because these firms have to hold insurance. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes administration-related contractual requirements. We're not held to any minimums or maximums for any of our contracts, so there's no guarantee that you will get work if you are awarded this contract. But the scores are the scores, and if the commission chooses to make an alternate recommendation of award, then I would just ask that you would have some type of justification as to how you are choosing those.
So that was part of the answer. I just want to make sure that we frame what we're stepping into. And then I see both of our attorney and administrator kind of wanting to respond, so.
I just wanted, so for 2 things. One, I just want to confirm with Christie that the advertisement did not have a specified number of awardees.
No, we do not
Okay,
do that.
so
It's typically off of.
That's important. So that does give you the latitude to add it. And the other piece, to be consistent with, this and other items, that you would follow the ranking that was presented. So whether it's 3 or all of them, you should go in order of ranking. If you were not to go in the order of ranking, then you would need to provide even more detailed justification of how you rank them differently than staff. So that's my recommendation.
Can I just
Sure.
ask one more question? So in the grand scheme, we have multiple departments, we have multiple reasons to have somebody helping us tell a story, tell something, right? Is it up to the department? Who decides who picks the firm? So if we awarded all 6 today, right? Who says, I want this firm and I want that firm? And is there an equity issue, and how? And then does someone who ranked at the top never gets picked because this person has a better relationship? Is that cause us any issues?
So typically what happens when we have a pool of contracted vendors is a lot of times we ask that they are used on a rotational basis if you're comparing apples to apples. But like Commissioner Heatherington said, some firms will have, specialty in one area, whereas someone may not have that. So it's really on a case-by-case basis. Departmental staff, if they have a certain need in one of the firms, maybe they're not the top-ranking firm, but they have a lot of experience in one area and that's what they need, that's who they'll choose. We won't restrict them. If we see that one vendor is used very heavily and the other vendors are not getting any work, we will definitely question as to why. Because again, we don't want to award contracts that these vendors are never being used, so.
So the only caution I just suggest, and I'll do what you want to do, is just exactly what you laid out. If the staff recommendation was to pick these 2 based upon a ranking and a system, we step out of that and we say, no, we think all 6 ought to have that, and then we go into a rotational, or we go into a choice selection. I just want to be cautious that we don't get challenges down the road that, we were ranked the highest, we never get any request for work, and have we circumvented the system by doing that? That's my only caution. And this is almost kind of like choosing vendors on a particular project, and you come to us with a recommendation, and we choose to step out of that, and you just got to be careful, that's all. So with that, I'll be quiet, and I think Commissioner Heatherington was next.
I completely understand and agree, particularly with items that, if you have somebody coming out and they're, addressing a landscaping or a pothole issue, one company could probably, have the same remedy for that. I think this is more of a skill set. I don't care if one company is awarded more or less, or, I don't even think it should be evenly distributed. If one department needs a particular skill set, then they would identify which firm best meets their needs. I lean and will make a motion that we include all 6, because then the departments can then rightly choose the skill set that they need for their particular project. There's nothing worse than, having not have the skill set that you need on a project that's a large septic to sewer project, or a very big neighborhood restoration project. And I feel very firm that we need all of the different skill sets that are offered. So I'll make a motion that we include all 6.
Second for discussion. Sure. Thank you. Ms. Brotherton, I didn't disagree with anything that you said. Obviously, you're in that position for a reason. So that being said, having, as Commissioner Heatherington said, more tools in the toolbox, more options, I would say that I think that these being professional firms, all of them, if you scrolled up, 20 took the package, correct? Scroll down. 21 took the plan? Is that what that means, number of
This is
plan
just,
holders?
the information that we download from DemandStar, which is our online solicitation, but we also advertise in the newspaper and reach elsewhere. But this
So
is who downloaded.
What does number of plan holders mean?
That's how many people downloaded this.
So 21, you notified 375 potential
At least, yeah.
suppliers. 21 said, I'm interested enough to get the details, and 6 applied. So from my perspective, they should all understand that being selected to be part of a continuing service agreement with the county doesn't guarantee you work. It just means you're eligible to have the work versus not being.
Stated in our solicitations as well.
Correct. So if they didn't know it, you educated them to the fact that that's the way it was. I have no issue with the scoring, with the team. I just think that 2 narrowed the opportunities down, not only for us, and I still agree that it should start every opportunity, and I'm pretty sure our departments know, if it can be handled in-house with our professional team, all the better. If it can't, and they have to go out for more specialized communication, presentations, I like that. I'd second Commissioner Heatherington's motion, and I like what Don said, that although we are, although we're opening it up to 6, that the scoring criteria still be left in place. Not that it's a random 6, that the criteria that the selection committee put in place and your people voted on still has value. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Anybody? Sorry, did I miss somebody down there? Dawn, did you have one? Did you have anything else you want to add? No. Is there anybody from the public who would like to weigh in on this? Seeing none, back to the board. We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All is opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Christie, thank you.
Thank you, Christine.
Okay, Ms. Gordon?
Do the rest of the consent, right?
Oh, we did that one. This was the agenda, right?
We did that with the agenda,
Oh, okay, you're right.
unless there's something you want to chat about.
No.
No?
Thank you.
No worries.
I'm wrong as usual.
Ms. Gordon?
Donna Gordon for Administration. Construction Industry Licensing Board, this is for 3 positions. The board is asked to reappoint Nancy Lapierre, Consumer Representative, and Kevin Sharkey, the HARV contractor, and appoint a general contractor, the 2 applicants, Jeff Bowers or Russell Williston. And the terms will begin November 30th of this year and end November 29, 2025. And of the 2 general contractors, Mr. Jeff Bowers received 4 votes.
I'll move reappointment of Nancy Lapierre and Kevin Sharkey, and appointment of Jeff Bowers.
Second.
Motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All is opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, Ms. Gordon, thank you. First item we have up this morning on the agenda is public hearing item number 1, public hearing to consider approval of the amended Local Housing Assistance Plan, LHAP, 2020. Oh, that's right, we continued that. I'm sorry. We continued that to December 13th, right? Do you need to tell us something? Okay. So we continued that item to December 13th. I apologize. Public hearing item number 2, public hearing to consider adoption of an
I don't know
ordinance.
if we did. It's not in the beginning. We might have to do it now. I don't see it on here. We voted for that this morning. You didn't mention it.
Open it and continue
Okay, we need a motion to continue.
I'd make a motion to continue public hearing number 1 until December 13th, 2022.
Okay, this was a public hearing. Anybody from the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing as it was on, it'll be continued to December 13th. Seeing none, back to the board. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All is opposed. Motion carries unanimously. Public hearing item number 2, public hearing to consider adoption of an ordinance amending Division 8 of Article 4 in Land Development Regulations regarding mining standards. You don't look like Ms. Wixer.
Good morning. I am not. I'm Michelle Cullum, Assistant County Engineer for the Public Works Department. I'm joined here by Bob Higgins with Higgins Engineering as well. I'm going to go to our PowerPoint here, hopefully. Oop. There we go. Okay. So we're here today to present an ordinance to the Land Development Regulations for the creation of mining standards. I'll go through a quick background of why we're here, a summary of the proposed standards, and open it up to questions at the end. Hopefully this background is more of a refresher. The current land development regulations limits the depth of excavation to 20 feet below the wet season water table. Palm City Holdings is requesting an increase to allowable depth of excavation to 40 feet below, and presented this request to the board in August of 2021. During the hearing last year, the board directed staff to seek a consultant with the expertise to advise the board with a recommendation regarding the proposed ordinance. Higgins Engineering was selected through the CCNA process, and Higgins Engineering reviewed and recommended changes to the ordinance, which is being considered today. Bob is here to answer any technical questions that you have for us. Before I go through the summary of standards, I would like to remind you what the definition of mining operation is. Mining operations is the process of extracting clay, peat, gravel, sand, heavy minerals, limestone, phosphate, or any other solid substance of commercial value found in natural deposits for the sole purpose of receiving profit. This ordinance restricts the material that's excavated below 20 feet to sand only. In addition, the site must be a minimum of 100 acres. Water quality samples will be required semi-annually and provided to the county in a geotechnical report that's certified by a licensed professional. The ordinance requires specific sampling criteria, lithological descriptions, sieve analysis to confirm that it's sand, and water samples testing chlorides into total dissolved solids. Any failed samples will result in a notice to cease and desist with mitigation required in 30 days. The excavation must not be within 300 feet of right-of-way, property line, or existing well or septic systems. The maximum depth is 40 feet or 30 feet above the upper Floridan aquifer, which is the Hawthorne group. And there's a correction in our presentation. It says Florida, but it's Floridan. So for example, if the applicant proposes to excavate 40 feet below the wet season water table and the geotechnical report confirms that the Hawthorne group is at 60 feet, then they can only excavate to a depth of 30 feet. So it's 30 feet above. They can't go to the maximum 40. So that's in this ordinance. The method of excavation is restricted to hydraulic dredging or by drag line below the water table. Water dredged from the dredged material must be retained on site and recharged to an open body of water, well, the open body of water from the mining. And last, blasting is prohibited. I am going to actually go to our supplemental. We provided this. On November 3rd, the local planning agency recommended a vote of 3-0, by a vote of 3-0, that the Board of County Commissioners adopt the proposed ordinance amending Article 4, Division 8, excavating, filling, and mining to create Section 4.348, mining standards as presented. The official minutes of the LPA meeting are not available yet, so we weren't able to provide that. This is a public hearing, so it was advertised, and we have that in our agenda item. And then for the recommendation, I'm going to go back up a page. We are recommending that the board move that the board adopt the proposed ordinance amending Article 4, Division 8, excavating, filling, and mining to create Section 4.348 mining standards as presented. In addition, that the term Upper Florida Aquifer should read Upper Floridan Aquifer throughout the agenda item summary, the proposed ordinance, the changes that were made to the text proposed in August 2021, and the presentation.
Okay.
That's it, if you have any questions.
Higgins, do you have anything to add? You came all this way.
I don't think I have anything to add. I will point out that there's two team members here, Rick Creech and Bob Brown. They're part of the group I assembled to address the multifaceted aspects of the mining ordinance. A big item that's different between 20 feet and 40 feet is primarily it's going to require a hydrogeologic report with testing. If it's 20 feet, there's up to now, you didn't have to do any of that testing. So it gives us something to look at to say, okay, there's going to be no harm to go 30 or 40 feet. And that's about all I can add.
Thank you for that. Michelle, do you have anybody else that you want to
I do not.
add? Rick, anybody? No, you good? Okay. Commissioners, Commissioner Campy.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Cullum, when you did the research, and Mr. Higgins, when you did the research, what do the other counties do? What are the levels that other counties, our neighboring counties, what levels do they work at?
I would say typical is 40 feet. There's, to the south, Palm Beach County is 40 feet, except in the ag reserve area, it's 30 feet. So there's certain restrictions with various counties. To the north, it's 40 feet.
Okay, so we're falling in line with what our neighbors are doing in the region, in the area.
Yes, the only outlier is probably Dade County, but there'll continue to be an outlier. They're at 60 feet.
So in Dade County, they dig down to 60 feet.
Yes.
Okay, we're not looking to necessarily duplicate that. Sir, just for the people that might be listening at home, can you tell, when, this is the second time we've had this conversation, we had it about a year ago, and our staff, although very, very smart, not everyone can be an expert on every topic. You are an expert on this topic, correct, sir?
I am considered that, yes.
Can you give us your background, so if people wonder, like, where this information came from?
I've got a bachelor's and master's primarily in water resource engineering, and have over 40 years' experience in South Florida dealing with land development, other projects such as mines.
Thank you. So, just to be clear, Ms. Collum, we're not, as a board, just allowing people that used to be able to dig to 20 to now dig to 40. You had mentioned in your presentation, we've put into place a lot of criteria that would need to be met, a lot of fail-safes that would need to be met, correct?
Correct.
I would make a motion to accept staff's recommendation on the advice of our expert who was brought in to handle it, and knowing that the firms in Martin County that will be looking to utilize this additional depth will have criteria and fail-safes that need to be met.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Commissioner Heatherington.
Two questions. Mr. Higgins, why do they limit it to 30 feet? I'm just curious, in the Ag Reserve in Palm Beach County.
It's because of its proximity to the Everglades. They feel the seepage from the Everglades would be increased with a deeper depth, so they cut it more shallow.
And Michelle, if all that criteria is met, which I agree with all the criteria, couldn't a property owner apply for a variance if they meet that criteria and then potentially have the depth of 30 to 40 feet?
We do not have a process for a variance to allow a deeper depth above or below the 20 feet that we have right now.
So what would need to be in place to have a variance?
We would have.
This
to
is
go-
countywide, right? This is,
Correct. This would be a new ordinance, a new section in the land development regulations for the full county. In order to go a variance route, we would have to come back and do an ordinance to create a process for a variance instead of the section.
we didn't look at that at the same time as we looked at the ordinance?
No, ma'am, we did not. The applicant did not. This is a private applicant proposed this, so this is what they requested to add to our land development regulations.
This is a public hearing. Oops.
I was just to add on to that, your question and maybe clarification. Once this ordinance is in effect, a project that can seek a mining application can come in and seek a development order, major development order as a mining application, provided they provide all the criteria, they could come and seek that approval. So you may have an existing mine today that was approved under the old rules, they could come in and seek an amendment under these new rules, so they could, as long as they comply, it wouldn't be a variance, it would just simply be a new application to meet the current land development standards. So that's how you would apply for it. I think it's important to note that there's some pretty significant buffering requirements, so this is most likely only going to apply in a mining application and not in a lake subdivision application.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Anybody from the public wish to comment on this item? This is public hearing item number 2, to consideration, or the consideration of adoption of an ordinance amending Division 8, Article 4 in the land development regulations regarding mining. Seeing none, back to the board. We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All is opposed?
Opposed.
Motion carries 3-1 with Commissioner Heatherington opposing. Thank you very much, Bob. Thank you.
Yeah.
Michelle, thank you. Lisa, thank you. Others that were involved behind the scenes. Next item up is quasi-judicial public hearing item number 1, request a zoning district change by USA Auto Wash, Inc. Mr. Elam. Good afternoon, good morning, good morning. This is quasi-judicial. Commissioner Jenkins, you have any ex parte?
If I do, they've been filed.
Commissioner Heatherington?
If I do, they've been filed.
Commissioner Campy?
I don't have any, and that's been filed.
In this case, Commissioner Hurd, if she has them, she would file them, or because she's not here?
Elise Elder, Deputy County Attorney, she's not here, so she does not have to provide her ex parte, because she's not taking a vote today.
Very good, thank you. And if I have them, they are filed. Do you have your work history tree to pass in? Thank you very much.
I call that smithing.
Do we have any notice requirements that need to be submitted? Tyson, you did them at the LPA? Can you just come up and tell us that, please?
Tyson Waters from the law firm of Fox McCluskey on behalf of the applicant. The notices were turned in at the LPA meeting for both that meeting and this meeting.
Fantastic, thank you. Do we have any interveners? We do not. Did I miss anything?
Swear in the witness.
Oh, we need to swear in the witnesses. Gosh, you'd think, almost one more meeting to go, you'd think that hurt. Just about right.
Raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You're gearing up. Okay, Mr. Elam, please lead us off.
Thank you. Let's
This is a request for a mandatory rezoning by USA Auto Wash, Inc. The approximate 3.781 acre property consists of 2 parcels of land. It is located approximately 1,000 feet north of Southeast Salerno Road on the west side of South Canner Highway. Included with this application is a request for a certificate of public facilities exemption. The proposed amendment to the county zoning atlas is to change the existing zoning districts from A1 Small Farms, B1 Business District, B2 Business Wholesale Business District to GC General Commercial. Future land use on the property is commercial general. The current zoning districts on the property are all Category C. The B1 and B2 zoning districts are consistent with the future land use, but the A1 Small Farms district is not. That makes this a mandatory rezoning. There are 2 standard Category A zoning options for rezoning. It's CC Community Commercial and GC General Commercial. These tables show the development standards for the existing Category C zoning districts as well as the 2 standard Category A zoning districts consistent with the commercial general future land use assigned to this land in Martin County's Comprehensive Growth Management Plan. This proposed amendment went before the LPA on November 3rd, and it was voted 3-0 to approve staff's recommendation for rezoning. Staff recommends that the requested GC General Commercial District is an appropriate zoning district with respect to the application goals and policies of the comp plan, the land development regulations, and the county codes, and we recommend the board move to receive and file the agenda item. And the staff report is Exhibit 1, and staff recommends the board approve the request to rezone from A1 Small Farms District, B1 Business District, B2 Business Wholesale Business District, to GC General Commercial District. And that concludes the presentation.
Great. Any questions for staff? Seeing none, Mr. Waters? Good morning again.
Again, Tyson Waters on behalf of the applicant. We agree with staff's recommendation and the recommendation of the LPA. As staff mentioned, this is has a land use of general commercial, but the zoning on are a Category C zoning district, so we're just trying to update it to the current appropriate zoning district. And with that, I'm here for any questions that you may have.
Very good. Commissioners, questions for the applicant? Commissioner Heatherington?
Pending public comment, I would make a motion for staff's recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. This is a public hearing, quasi-judicial. Anybody from the public wish to chime in on this issue? This is public hearing, quasi-judicial item number 1, zoning district change by USA Auto Wash, Inc. Seeing none from the audience, back to the board. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Seeing none, thank you. Mr. Waters, thank you. Item number 2, public hearing, quasi-judicial, request for major final site plan approval for the Hobe Sound Tennis Center. You don't look like Elizabeth Nagel.
She'll probably be relieved to hear that.
I'm just really trying to understand how to respond to that without getting in trouble, so I'm going to just leave it alone.
Liz gives her regards. She is on a long-planned vacation, and I'll be filling in for her.
That is important, that's good. Do you have your work history or her work history to?
I do. I have both of our work history along with the
So we
agenda.
have 2
items.
trees this morning.
Yes.
Very good. This is quasi-judicial. Commissioner Jenkins?
I have any of them filed.
Commissioner Heatherington?
If any have been filed?
Commissioner Campy?
If any, they have been filed.
If I have them, they are filed. We need to swear in our witnesses.
Raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay. Did we have any notices, or were they done at the LPA?
They were turned in at the LPAs.
Okay.
No interveners.
Sorry?
No interveners.
There are no interveners. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. Good morning. Peter Walden, Deputy Growth Management Director. And this is a request by Get Set and LLC for the Hobe Sound Tennis Center project.
It is a request for an outdoor commercial amusement facility with an approximate 8,589 square foot clubhouse with 12 tennis courts, associated amenities and infrastructure. The project is located on the east side of Federal Highway, approximately 400 feet north of Southeast Constitution Boulevard in Hope Sound. The project has general commercial land use. And the project contains about 9 acres of undeveloped land. Like I said, it's located on the east side of US 1 in Hope Sound. It is considered a major development because it's outdoor commercial amusement in the permitted use schedule, and it is a permitted use in general commercial. The project provides over 55% open space, of which only 20% is required. Part of that reason is because the site has rare and unique habitat requiring preservation. Just over 25% of the entire site has been preserved in a preserve area management plan. This is the site plan for the project. You can see the proposed clubhouse, parking facilities, 12 tennis courts. There's a swimming pool involved and associated facilities that go along with this project. It has a right turn in and right turn out on the northbound of US 1, and it's taking advantage of an existing median cut for a left turn in southbound. The project meets all commercial design standards. This is the proposed clubhouse building. And development review staff have reviewed the application and find it in compliance with all applicable regulations and the comprehensive growth management plan as detailed in the attached staff report, and recommends approval. And this project was before the local planning agency, and they also unanimously recommended approval. Therefore, staff recommends the board receive and file the agenda item and all its attachments, including the staff report, as Exhibit 1, and move that the board approve the final site plan for the Hope Sound Tennis Center project, including the preserve management plan. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Questions for staff? Seeing none, the applicant? Good morning.
Good morning.
You were sworn in, correct?
Yes.
Great.
I'm Troy Holloway. Oh, I need your mouse. Thank you.
Oh, you can maximize that.
Sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
Good morning. Troy Holloway with 2GHO. We are the applicant. We're here on behalf of our client, Get Set and LLC. We're here bringing you the Hope Sound Tennis Center. Their request is they're seeking approval for a major final site plan approval for an outdoor commercial amusement use on just a little over 9 acres to be known as the Hope Sound Tennis Center. This is the subject parcel here located on the east side of US Highway 1. It's just north of Constitution Boulevard. It's bordered on the south by some existing vacant commercial land and some existing commercial uses, the Dollar General there to the south. To the east is the Heritage Ridge South residential community. Directly east is the clubhouse, the Cambridge Clubhouse, there just across the water. To the north is Martin County Conservation Lands, and then the Heritage Ridge Golf Course there in the northeast corner. And then to the west across US Highway 1 are some various commercial vacant properties and some developed. We have the Federal Animal Hospital there and the Hope Sound Professional Center as well. Just some brief history. The subject parcel did receive your approval for the zoning change on August 10th, 2021, from the B1 Business District to the current GC General Commercial District zoning. This is a color rendering of the site plan that was just up. And again, it does have just the one access there from US Highway 1 through the existing median opening, which does go into the main parking lot there at the front abutting US Highway 1. Just a quick site development features. It does provide for 2.2 acres of upland preserve, again, which is on the north side. We do have that abutting and contiguous with the existing conservation lands, so it does fit well there. On the east side, we have a fully planted 0.8 of an acre dry detention area, which does help buffer it again from the residential there to the east. It has 12 lighted clay tennis courts. It does provide for a hitting practice wall, small multi-purpose field for the kids, a kids play area next to that. It does provide for a small lap pool, a walking path that does go around the facility. And it does also provide for a future cross-access to the south vacant parcel when that is needed. And then, of course, the main in the center there, we do have a clubhouse. It does provide for some indoor-outdoor cafe use, yoga studio, exercise gym, massage studio. It also has a small retail pro shop, some classroom space, some childcare room, and locker rooms as well. Just some of the data, it is just over 9 acres. The clubhouse is 8,589 square feet. The proposed lot coverage is only 3.7%, 60% is allowable, so it's well under that. The open space provided is 55.6%, 20% is the minimum. Again, we have the 25.3 acre upland preserve area provided. The proposed building height's 31 feet 7, 40 feet is the max. Parking required 95 spaces, 102 is provided. So we have plenty of parking as well. I just want to go through some project information to kind of give you an understanding of what they are trying to provide here. The Hobe Sound Tennis Center will be committed to provide a high-quality, well-maintained community tennis facility operating 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily. Their vision is to cater to the active lifestyle enthusiasts who seek ways to integrate physical and mental well-being into their daily social lives. It will provide members in the local community with opportunities to learn and play tennis at all levels, both competitive and socially. It will provide members at the local community a way to work out, gain strength, and eat nutritionally, relax, and maintain their health. It will provide a setting where parents, grandparents, families, and kids of all ages can play and eat together in an open-air setting. And it can provide an event and fundraising center for the community as well. The Hobe Sound Tennis Center will also seek to offer opportunities to underprivileged or at-risk kids a place to go to receive the benefits of methodical long-term tennis training through scholarships and to learn tennis for life. These are the elevations you just seen. These are the front and rear elevations. Front is facing US Highway 1 at the top. As you can see, the building essentially is a one-story structure. It does have a 2-story viewing platform there at the rear. These are the side elevations, the north and south. As you can see, the building it has a metal standing roof, lap siding, very clean, neutral tones. It's a very clean, nice-looking structure. It does provide for a covered roof area around 3 sides of the building, the front and rear, and the north side. And as you can see, the 2-story viewing platform there at the rear of the building. And then we do have some architectural renderings, kind of gives you a better feel. As you can see, the structure is raised up slightly, so you do have some nice stairs going into the front entry. Again, just really nice, clean architecture. This is the front facing US Highway 1, abutting the parking lot. This is the rear southeast corner. Again, the 2-story viewing platform, which would have, again, outdoor dining, an outdoor cafe, which could be outside or underneath that viewing platform. And just from the same view, just from the northeast corner. This is the small lap pool. It does provide for 3 lanes of lap swimming, has a beach entry, just someplace to relax. You can go relax while your partner is playing tennis, or the kids can come here and play. This is just an overview shot of the entire facility, tennis courts, the pool area, the clubhouse. In conclusion, the site plan does comply with all requirements of the Martin County LDRs. It's well buffered from the surrounding residential properties. The projected traffic is deemed to be consistent with your transportation concurrency requirements. And the Hobe Sound Tennis Center will be a beautiful, well-maintained tennis facility for the local residents and families of Hobe Sound and throughout Martin County to enjoy year-round. Thank you.
Very nice. Commissioners, questions?
Looks very nice.
Yes.
We got property in Palm City if you're interested in something in the future. I'm just.
I didn't know it was coming, but as soon as he started to speak.
We're very thankful that you chose the best.
So just
And the largest.
so membership, is it a membership-driven program?
Yes, they'll have memberships. I mean, they'll have yearly, monthly, weekly, daily. So you just, it's basically pay to play.
And the schools in the area, they'll have access, will there be some kind of a school?
School programs?
School membership program, something?
He hasn't really said.
Okay.
I'm sure they probably will because they are trying to reach out to the children as well to get them involved at early ages.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I remember a long time ago, we did, when I was a kid, we had that sort of, this similar,
Really
very,
long time.
long time ago, thank you. That's great.
Wooden rackets they were playing with.
And I still have them, actually, so yeah, you're right, they are. It's a very similar concept to something I remember from a very long time ago. And so, I just, from the kids' side of the thing, it's hopeful that they do, they reach out and encourage kids to participate.
I would imagine they would because they're very passionate about it and want to get the kids involved at early ages.
And when you bring the kids, the parents come as well.
Exactly.
Something like that. Fantastic, it looks great in your district there.
When I was younger, I had to go all the way to Burns Road. I did play tennis when I was in elementary and high school, and
You strike me as a tennis guy.
yeah, my shoulders and.
No pickleball there? No pickleball?
I don't know. They're talking about it. They probably will, as it seems to be becoming so popular.
Fastest growing sport in America.
Yeah, and they can just restripe courts so they can play both on.
Yeah, they can go.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Okay.
With that, I would like to make a motion to accept this wonderful project into my district.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. This is a public hearing. Anybody from the public wish to comment on this item? Seeing no one from the public, back to the board. Any further discussion with staff or the applicant? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
You won all the sets.
Yes. Thank you.
Tell George I said hi, by the way. Thank you.
Next item, Commissioners, is, I think we can maybe finish off this
Yes.
before we take our break.
Finish everything.
Department item number 1, Office Management and Budget items which require board approval. Ms. Manning, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Commissioners. Jennifer Manning, OMB Director. I have 8 items on the agenda this morning, and the first item is permission to apply for the FY23 Urban and Community Forestry Grant through the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. The grant amount is $50,000. It requires a $50,000 match, which will be available in the operations funds and field operations. The funding will be used, if awarded, for public tree canopy improvements within the county right-of-ways. Oops. The second item is permission to accept, sorry, I moved too fast. Thank you, Donna. Okay. The second item is permission to apply for the American Automobile Association Traffic Safety Grant. This is an amount of $10,000. If awarded, the Fire Rescue Department will utilize the funding to install traffic preemption equipment in 49 intersections across the county to enhance the safety and emergency response in business areas, in the busiest areas.
Just stop you there for a second. You know, this came up, I'm sure we all were prepped on this like a year ago. This is a huge thing, I think, for us, for our fire rescue and safety personnel. This will allow them, as they're going down US 1 or various roads, to get the intersections changed and cleared for them. So it's a really great opportunity for us.
I'm going to want to get one of those as well.
I'm sure.
I think
Limited.
each of the commissioners should probably have one.
I know,
Times
that's
I have to
okay.
get
No,
to a
you can-
situation, constituent quickly.
Yep.
Oh, you're going to go with the Chick-fil-A.
I could test it, beta test it. Something.
Okay. Thank you, though.
Item number 3 is permission to accept the State of Florida Department of Environmental Protection Agency 319 grant. This is for the East Fork Creek stormwater quality improvements. The grant award is $600,000. Item number 4 is permission to accept the Florida Department of Health Emergency Medical Services Grant in the amount of $18,344. Those funds will be used for equipment and training to enhance emergency medical services. Item number 5 is permission to accept a local planning agency funding for the Salerno Road Sidewalk Project, which is from Southeast Willoughby Boulevard to Southeast Cable Drive. This grant amount is up to $495,862. Item number 6 is permission to accept the Florida Inland Navigation District Waterways Assistant Grant for Sandsport Boat Ramp improvements. This grant award is for $300,000.
And that's one more.
Item number 7 is permission to terminate the Florida Department of Transportation Public Transportation Grant Agreement for rehabilitation of the Martin County non-movement areas, Phase 4, Taxi Bravo Design and Construction. The grant award is for $1 million. They would like to terminate the contract because of conflict with the upcoming projects on runway 7-25. The final item is Martin County Sheriff Office is requesting funding from the Federal Equitable Sharing Funds in the amount of $14,000. And this will be used for additional equipment with special investigations. And that concludes my presentation.
Ms. Manning, thank you. Questions, Commissioners?
I'll move approval.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Anybody from the public? Seeing none, back to the board. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All is opposed. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Ms. Manning, thank you. Ms. Brotherton, you are up again. Let's see what we can do to mess with you on this one.
We do have Christy Brotherton, Chief Procurement Officer. The first item, Commissioner Heatherington will need to abstain from voting, so if we could separate those.
Oh, yes. All right, so we'll pull item 1 out, and I've turned in my Form 8B, and because of my contractual relationship with Ferrera, I'll be abstaining from that particular item.
Okay, so we need a motion for item A1.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Any further discussion? Anybody from the public? Seeing none, back to the board. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Aye?
Aye.
Aye, okay, good.
Aye.
Aye.
We made the motion in the second.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 3-1 with Commissioner Hurd absent and Commissioner Heatherington abstaining with her form filed.
The second contract we have, this is jumping around here, sorry about that. Hello, is our continuing services contract for nuisance vegetation management. Staff is recommending that the contract be awarded to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, which is Kerner LLC, and move that the board authorize the county administrator or designee to execute any and all documents related to this request. The next item we have is a change order for the Map Road Town Center project. This is the final change order to address some field orders and project overruns and underruns. Staff is recommending that the board approve change order number 5, which is the final, to Sunshine Land Design in the amount of $215,575.85. And move that the board authorize the county administrator or designee to execute any and all documents related to this request. And then last, we have the on-road transit and support services contract, which is for our Marty bus system operation. Each year, we are provided with grant funding, and the purpose of this amendment is to increase the contract not to exceed value by that grant funding that we received. And staff is recommending that the board approve amendment number 2 to MTM Transit for year 3 of the transit program to increase the total contract cumulative not to exceed amount to $8,785,390, and move that the board authorize the county administrator or designee to execute any and all documents related to this request. And that concludes this item.
Fantastic. Any questions from Ms. Brotherton? Seeing none,
Move to approve.
Second.
we have a motion, we have a second. Anybody from the public? Seeing none, back to the board. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All is opposed. Motion carries unanimously. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Commissioner Jenkins, you have anything for the end of the day?
I do not.
Commissioner Heatherington?
Nope, I'm all set.
Commissioner Campy?
We had some areas of road flooding and issues of flooding that I know Mr. Donaldson is going to discuss with our team so that the residents can have a better understanding of what took place and what is going to take place in the future. That's all I have.
You going to respond to that, or?
Do you want to go through your commissioner comments, and then I can?
I just didn't know if you wanted to feed right off that, or if you wanted to wait.
It's your choice, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks. I do have one item that I brought up with Mr. Donaldson, and it was relative to Larry Massing's passing. I think what I'd like to see is when we come back for reorganization, which is November 22nd, I believe, when we come back next week, is a policy change discussion on when a member of our staff passes away and they would like to use one of our facilities to hold their services, that we have a waiver process of some sort to be able to deal with that. I think it would be most appropriate for our staff that do so much for our community that they, you know, and as Larry was discussed this morning, you could go on and on and on about the things that Larry has contributed to our community. So not to vote on something today, but just to be prepared maybe to have a conversation to talk about that as a policy addition during our reorganization, I think would be helpful. Other than that, I don't have anything else for the end of the day. Mr. Donaldson, you want to?
Yes, I do have a couple items. First of all, I wanted to announce that Martin County was awarded the 2022 Best Restored Shores Award. We got the first place for Twin Rivers Park Shoreline Protection and Enhancement Project from the American Shore Beach Preservation Association as one of the best restored shoreline awards. I think this is an interesting one in that, you know, it began in 2005 after the storms, and it's also before living shorelines was a term of art. This was one of those that included that from the very beginning. Kevin Landry was our project manager. And our consultant, Applied Technology and Management. So anyway, this is the award, a nice award if you want to. Jim, you're here? Yeah, so anyway, this is.
Come and receive the award, Jim.
Yes, come and receive the award, yes. I'm sorry, Commissioner Hurd couldn't be here. It's in her district, but it's and we're also in the process of, there's one other piece of that shoreline we're working on. Jim, maybe you can give a quick comment on where we're at with that one.
Jim Gordon, Public Works Director. So the second phase is south of the phase that we won the award for, and we're going to do something very similar in that section where we're going to have a living shoreline and still allow it to be accessible to the public because there is a public interest in keeping that area open. So, so we're excited to get that secured. It didn't get too much erosion during the storm, so it's in the same state that it was before. But thank you.
Great. Thanks, Jim. Good work for you and Kevin Landry and the rest of the staff that worked on that. So leading on to shorelines, which has been in the news obviously from Hurricane Nicole, just wanted to give you a quick update on some of what happened during what turned out to be a storm surge and wave event. And so throughout the estuary, it was storm surge with some waves in the lagoon, and then on the beach, it was storm surge with big waves that caused overtopping. I think before describing the impacts, it's also too important to note that where we had a long-standing engineered restored beach, which would be from the county line down just past Stewart Beach, that beach did very well. We didn't have any homes or flooding through them. If those remember, in 2004 and 5, St. Lucie County did not have an engineered beach at the time, and a number of those condos had sand up to about halfway up those first condos. where our beach project that we've worked with the Corps of Engineers actually did quite well. And we were about 2 years away from doing another renourishment, and now we're probably closer to 1 year away, but the Corps, we're working with them on that part of it. The section of coastline that is not engineered beach in the same fashion, that area south, especially of the House of Refuge, we did have problems. So the dune was very thin there to begin with, and it overtopped it and washed across the road, carrying the contents of folks' garages and other things into the roadway and into their neighbor's property. So that was the challenge. As you know, we did close the road portion temporarily during the storm, especially prior to its arrival, and then immediately afterwards we were able to open the road, but only after clearing the debris. So the road itself is still intact, but the debris that came over the roadway was the challenge. Bathtub Beach was eroded prior to the storm. It held pretty well during the storm, and its staff subsequently has hauled some material to shore up the weakened spots. Today, you awarded a contract that was part of a resiliency with FEMA to install some structures at Bathtub Beach so that we won't lose the parking lot or the road in the future. And also we'll be elevating MacArthur Boulevard in that point. So the timing would have been nice if we had it last year, but some of these projects take a while. But once we expect the next year to have that completed. So hopefully by next hurricane season, we will have that portion of MacArthur protected. The structure that we put in just south of the House of Refuge after 2004, there were no problems there. It still has a thin dune in front of it. So again, it kind of worked, that combination of where we do add structures, we still put them in a way that there is still natural protection in front of it. So we can protect the public infrastructure at the same time, still having a turtle-friendly beach or recreational beaches that work with nature to still have a natural beach system. Going beyond that, our parks had erosion along our causeways. Indian Riverside Park, we've had some erosion to the south of the mansion. Again, we completed a project during the pandemic where we protected the building and some Indian middens. That was in great shape. If we hadn't had that project in place, we could have lost a significant shoreline and threatened the actual mansion itself. So that was very fortunate. We got that done. Unique project which I could go on and brag about. We had archaeologists come from DC during that project. A lot of hard work, had a good contractor. That one came out really well. But again, there is some areas around other parts of the park by the Sailing Center. We're working with the Sailing Center so they can have their event in the beginning of December. And have an uninterrupted event. And coincidentally, we're also working with the Department of Environmental Protection on some grants to also augment living shorelines along Indian Riverside Park while still maintaining the public access and recreation that goes on there. So we have some boat ramps and other damage that we were dealing with. I think in terms of the public side of our private properties, we had, based upon the storm surge elevation, which we recorded about elevation 4, a little above 4, and from what I could tell, the closest coastal gauge that's maintained by NOAA, which that showed elevation 5, their storm surge, which was in Cape Canaveral. So our ocean was probably at 5 or above in terms of the storm surge, plus the waves on top of that is what the ocean saw. The intercoastal and the inland waterway saw this elevation 4, which again is about 4 feet above the mean high water that you would see. So it was a pretty significant water elevation We did, which was created by these king tides, I think, is at the same time. We do have another high tide event around Thanksgiving, and that's why staff is doing some work to prepare for that at Bath Tub and a few other locations. After that, in December, and as we go on, the tides get lower, and our lowest tides of the year, if I recall, are somewhere around February, March timeframe. The number of homes, though, based upon that elevation of 4, we estimate that there were upward of potentially 105 homes that would have had water in their garage or on their floor. Staff was only able to witness maybe a dozen, in the field, but there is potentially 100 homes that had some water due to this flooding. We do have some projects in the future that we've been looking at in terms of when we talk about resiliency, and this will be a conversation we'll continue to have, is that when the water doesn't come from rainfall, in this event we did not have much rainfall, so it was all storm surge related. Pipes in your street to the river do not help storm surge. It just brings it into the yard faster. However, we do have some, in some areas we're able to put check valves, if you will, that try to limit the water coming through. But the real issue is basically raising roads, people raising their backyards, those types of things to deal with the incremental changes that we see from these higher storm events. And staff will be bringing back some projects in our CIP. We already have some supplied for in some of these neighborhoods. So I'm sure we'll have more discussions on that, but in the end, it is really a combination of where we have public streets, we can do some work, but it's also the private investment on those properties. Property owners will have to share a big part of that, and how we accomplish the two together simultaneously is always a challenge. Some of you all may remember that St. Lucie Settlement was a project that was threatened by high tide events, but also was exacerbated by when the Lake Okeechobee had high discharges. And they were one of those early communities that did not have sewer. So we put them on the county sewer system, and then a number of those homes were elevated through FEMA grants, of which we helped administrate to elevate the homes. So that's an example, early example of trying to deal with a neighborhood. While they still have some street flooding, they're at least not, subject to the house flooding in the past. So, but other than that, we did on the whole, we did suffer very little damage. We had over 100 and approximately 130 people in shelters during that time. We've been evolving from a time in 2004, that milestone event where shelters were run by nonprofit agencies and are now run by your staff. It takes 12 staff, as I recall, per shelter. We had 5 of them open, and they are prepared to spend the night there. So I do want to thank all the staff that worked the shelters. I know we have some additional training and things to do it better, but I thought on the whole we did a really excellent job. The sheriff's office was excellent in providing services at those shelters, helping us. I appreciate their help on that. It's not we do have vulnerable homes in our community, and having those shelters open is critical. And also the school board is a major partner in that. And so in saying that, one of the key elements following a storm is how quickly you get back open for business. And that is really, I think, what we're driving to be. And that whole concept of resiliency is about, after the storm, know how large it is, how quickly can you flip on the lights and go back to business. And part of that for us is getting our schools open and getting the shelters, those folks in the shelter, back safely to their home, or getting those special needs folks, of which our health department did a great job, and our lifeguards helping at that area. So That also went, I thought, very well. I was surprised by noon on Thursday. I think we had most of the shelters were cleared out and people were back home, and we were getting the schools restart to open on Monday. So those are some of the things I think that are really critical to having an efficient community that deals with storms on a high professional level. I think we did a great job. We also have a lot of things that we, on our notepads, that we know we could do better, and we will do better, including our microphone at the presser not working. And it turns out that it was interference due to Wi-Fi or the wireless. You know, wireless, as much as we think is great, sometimes wireless isn't so great. So we're going back old school on having the microphones hardwired. So I think that's a lot of information. I thought, again, we did a great job, and I got Jim here if we have any other questions.
Okay. Sarah, I'll get to you, but first, Commissioner Campy.
Thank you. First off, when you have an engineer who's now your county administrator, you can
been working on this
appreciate
for years.
that level of specificity. Two things. One, I think what most people panic about, our staff did an excellent job. One, I guess the question would be, if you had those shelters, did you find out of the 130 people that stayed in the shelters, did they all sort of come from the same area and stay in the same shelter, or was it divided like equally across the shelters?
I mean, you had higher conscience. Salerno was our highest. We had a good turnout also in Indiantown, and the other shelters were scattered about. And of course, we do have, some people came from Palm Beach County to our shelters. So you do have different folks, but on the whole, Salerno was our bigger shelter in terms of usage, but the others had a reasonable amount evenly spread out.
Thank you. And then I'd want to remind folks that in the past, we did not have, but we do have, and we did even this time, the pet-friendly shelter. So for folks that felt that they couldn't go to the shelter because we wouldn't allow them to have their pets with them, we do have a shelter where you can bring your pets, so you don't have to stay behind purely because you think you can't take them with you. I'd also like to congratulate and thank FPL. Even with Ian and now with Nicole, the biggest concern most people have, I think all of us do, is losing power. Because then you're out of the AC, you're out of the, it creates a much, I think the sheriff was the first one to mention that it creates a much safer environment in the community when people have power. They're a lot more calm. And FPL, it was almost a non-issue. One, because their infrastructure that they've been working on, I've seen it throughout the year, even in the summer. They've been replacing poles and fortifying poles and burying lines. So it's come to a point where either you don't lose power, or if you do, it's back on very quickly. So that's a great testament for FPL. And lastly, if I could speak to Mr. Gordon, Lighthouse Point, I did receive a decent amount, and I saw video footage, and there was a lot on social media of people that were frustrated with some of our either past efforts, or some just wanted to know, what are we going to do? Mr. Donaldson touched on it. I know that there are pipes that lead from the roadway into the canals behind all of those houses. If you're not familiar, in Palm City, Lighthouse Point basically it's almost like Venice, where they have the canals behind each of their homes a lot. There are check valves. I remember being out there, but there were some pretty high water in the roadways. Did something not work, and did it teach us anything about what we could potentially do in the future?
So in that location, we have backflow prevention devices in those pipes. Those worked. The problem was the water came over private seawalls and over the sidewalk on the south side of Dyer Point Road from the preserve that's on the south side. Sidewalk's at about elevation 3. So the water came over those things and then came into the roadway. So in this instance, the fix is really raise the private seawalls, raise the sidewalk, and continue to go up. The limitation that you have is that you don't want to be higher than the finished floor elevations of the homes, because you'd rather have the road flood than the houses.
Right.
I believe at least one house did flood. At least the garage did. I saw some photos of that. But, better the road than the homes.
Agreed.
So-
I remember Mr. Donaldson once a long time ago with the last round of hurricanes said the roads are designed in such a way that water would stay there before it would come up. And I know that in that stretch by South Lighthouse Point, Dyer Point Road, if you make the sidewalk too high, then getting in from the street across the sidewalk into your driveway becomes a problem. People could then bottom out. And if that preserve on the south side there, if that's completely flooded, there's, some people suggested, why weren't we pumping the water from the road into that preserve? But that preserve was completely full too.
That's where it came from, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a set of circumstances that we can't engineer every single thing that Mother Nature could potentially send our way.
We have applied for a resilience grant for that area of Palm City to do some analysis to see what other options are available. So we are actually ahead of it, and we're looking at not just Dyer Point, but also several other roads that were impacted in that vicinity.
If you could let me know the timing of that grant and what that grant would work for, I'd like to notify the residents that live in that area. That was really, even out of Palm City Farms, that was really the only area that I had received any kind of critical feedback from was that specific area. And of course, obviously it dissipates relatively quickly, but people are always interested in, how can we better serve them? So I appreciate your efforts, and that guy behind you too.
Ms. Woods, anything for today? Board members, anything last?
If I could just say, sorry, just wanted to just thank Sally Waite and Chief Chinchilli for all their efforts. The fire rescue team did an awesome job throughout this as well. I know there's probably a few on the list that I didn't include, our library staff do an excellent job with the phone, handling all the rumor control. So anyway,
Can I end on a
thanks.
high note?
Yes, please, thank you. So that's.
This week.
Remember, we have closed captioning.
Yes.
We're a good half hour past.
10 seconds. This weekend, the Palm City Chamber had their third annual Veterans Memorial 5K over the Veterans Memorial Bridge. And the overall winner was our very own Matt Graham, won the whole entire thing, the head of our HR department. So congratulations to Matt Graham for winning the third annual Palm City 5K.
And with that, we are adjourned.